Welcome back, Love Nation. This is Nina. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you to everybody that has been coming to my channel. Like this video, share this video, and hit that notification bell so you guys know when I drop my next one. Listen, you guys, we are going into part 4 of the Garth Brooks versus Jane Doe lawsuit, and I'm going to say this is quite the accusations being flown in this lawsuit. Trigger warning, and I've had to code up words for YouTube purposes. Please follow along as I continue to read this lawsuit. Again, we are going into part 4, trigger warning, and again, share your comments below. This lawsuit goes real deep, you guys. So, again, trigger warning, and let's just get straight into this lawsuit. Plaintiff Miss Rowe. Miss Rowe is a professional makeup artist and hairstylist who has worked in the music industry for more than 30 years. Her work has garnered her a loyal list of clients, many of whom are household names. Through her work, skill, and dedication, Miss Rowe has performed the hairstyling and makeup for celebrities appearing in countless publications such as Rolling Stone, Vanity Fair, In Style, Esquire, and Nash Magazine. Additionally, she has received numerous credits in advertising campaigns involving top celebrities and brands, and for her work in television, commercials, and film. Throughout her career, Miss Rowe has collaborated with many of the top professional photographers in the world. Unfortunately, in late 2018, the pressure on Miss Rowe to provide financial support for her family increased, and she needed to take on as much work as she could handle. Miss Rowe shared her financial challenges with Garth Brooks and his wife. Next chapter, Brooks preys on Miss Rowe's hardship. As part of her work for Garth Brooks, Miss Rowe traveled to stadiums for concerts, such as to Notre Dame as part of his tour in October 2018, and to studios for filming for commercials and interviews, such as in December of 2018 to New York City for the CBS morning show. She often performed work for him at the home he shared with his wife. Garth Brooks intentionally touched her and kissed his wife in close physical proximity to Miss Rowe in a way that made Miss Rowe feel extremely uncomfortable. In addition, Garth Brooks would tell Miss Rowe that he thought it was hot to see his wife be with another woman in an adult situation, and implied that she could be the other woman. Although it was disturbing, she did not respond to these suggestions. Ms. Rowe had worked for Trisha Yearwood since 1999 and worried that Trisha would hear these things he was saying to Ms. Rowe and be upset with her, even though, of course, such behavior was initiated by Garth Brooks. For example, Garth Brooks openly talked about adult subjects in front of Ms. Rowe, including cunnilingus. Garth Brooks regularly changed his clothes in front of Ms. Rowe and often purposefully exposed his man parts, front and back, to Ms. Rowe, knowing that she would respond with a look of horror and disgust. In 2019, when she was at Garth Brooks' home to do his hair and makeup, Miss Rowe set her supplies in his bathroom as usual, but while she was setting up, Garth started taking a shower in front of her, then came out with no clothes, with his man parts pointing directly at Miss Rowe. In shock, before she knew what to do, he grabbed her hands and forced them upon his man junk. Disgustingly, Garth Brooks said that he wanted her to do stuff to him, And he said he had fantasies of her going to do stuff on him with her glasses on while he had fun all over her face. After this event, Garth Brooks continued to repeat this particular thing to Ms. Rowe, as well as other fantasies he had about her. Garth Brooks sent Ms. Rowe very explicit text messages and pressured her to engage in doing the same with him. On too many occasions to list, Garth Brooks would lasciviously stare at Miss Rowe's women parts and pressure Miss Rowe to open her shirt to allow him to touch her for his own purposes, after which he would touch himself. Regarding this conduct, Garth Brooks said he would take care of himself, meaning he would just really take care of himself, and also told Ms. Rowe he could not let her watch because when he does it, there's a lot. Other remarks made by Garth Brooks included him telling Ms. Rowe that he had done it with multiple women in every corner of a hotel room, white, black, brown, or whatever, and also said that he had also done so on every surface in a hotel room. Next chapter. The essay assault in California. On or about April 30th to May 1st of 2019, Ms. Rowe traveled to San Francisco with Garth Brooks to do his makeup and hairstyling for an event. On May 11th of 2019, Garth Brooks asked her to work in LA for a tribute show for Sam Moore. They left in the early morning hours from Nashville, Tennessee, and arrived in LA and went directly to the hotel. They were the only two passengers on his private jet, which was unusual. Once in LA at the hotel, Ms. Rowe was shocked to learn that he had booked only one hotel room, and she did not have a separate room. When she dared to ask if she could have a separate room, Brooks said no. Garth Brooks wanted her isolated and alone because he knew exactly what he was going to do to her. No other employees were on this trip for the same reason. Garth Brooks planned his attack well in advance. Suddenly, to her horror, Garth Brooks was standing in a doorway to the bedroom without any clothing on. Brooks' fantasy about doing some adult stuff with Ms. Rowe while she had her glasses on was about to happen. Garth Brooks grabbed her hands and pulled her into the other room and onto the bed. Ms. Rowe, less than 5 feet and about 100 pounds, was no physical match for Garth Brooks, who is 6 feet and weighs almost 300 pounds and regularly lifts weights. Brooks R-worded Miss Rowe, which was painful and traumatic, having no regard for her well-being and intent on his own adult gratification, at the expense of Ms. Rowe's physical, mental, and emotional trauma. At some point during the nightmare, Garth Brooks even held her small body upside down by her feet and touched her. She was helpless to move from his grip and terrified at what was happening to her, while he held her upside down, dangling her by the ankles. All the blood rushed to her head, causing her to feel dizzy and sick. Garth Brooks said very nasty things to Miss Rowe about what he could do to her. Garth Brooks also repeatedly slammed his man part onto her woman part, causing Miss Rowe's back to hit his body over and over with such force she felt as if he was breaking her in two. Garth Brooks insisted that Miss Rowe wear her glasses while he carried out his SA, demonstrating that he had thought about doing this far in advance of the May 11th, 2019 trip to LA. Knowing exactly what he was doing and the pain he was forcing her to endure against her will, at one point, Garth Brooks even said to Miss Rowe that he knew he was harming her. Disgustingly, this only caused him to drop her from the upside down position and forced her over to a small love seat where, after placing her face down, Garth Brooks engaged in another graphic act, which is included in this complaint, and she was terrified. With cold disregard for Miss Rowe, when Garth Brooks was finished, it was business as usual for Garth Brooks, and Miss Rowe worked quickly to style his hair and do his makeup for the event. Miss Rowe was physically ill and already in pain by the time they flew back to Nashville, Tennessee. In fact, a migraine had already started. In the weeks after this SA, Miss Rowe experienced debilitating pain in her neck and lower back, which she sought medical treatment for. In addition, she had to seek treatment from her doctor for damage that Garth Brooks caused during the LA R-wording. Sadly, during the summer of 2019, the trauma from Garth Brooks' R-wording became so unbearable for Miss Rowe that she planned to delete herself. She felt hopeless and did not see how she would move past what had happened. Fortunately, she did not act upon her thoughts and managed to continue to keep showing up and earning money to support her family. She knew that she could not say anything to Brooks or anyone who worked for him about what he had done. This is why, when Garth Brooks asked her to work with him at another job in LA, she still agreed to go. On October 28th of 2019, Garth Brooks had Miss Rowe travel with him back to California for 5 days of work. On this trip back to LA for 5 days, Miss Rowe was terrified to be in a hotel room with him again and worried that he would do it all over again. Fortunately, other employees were on this trip and in close proximity within the hotel. However, this did not stop Garth Brooks from repeatedly squeezing, touching her anytime he could. Garth Brooks even made Miss Rowe open her shirt to expose herself for this purpose of his own self pleasures. Her fears that he would subject her to any more unwanted SA were justified as one morning when Miss Rowe went to Garth Brooks' room to do his hair and makeup, he was on the bed and he was face down, wearing loose shorts and holding himself. The way he looked at her, Miss Rowe understood he was making it clear that he wanted to do what he had done on May 11th. She nearly escaped another SA because he was running late and other people were waiting to pick him up. Garth Brooks did not hide that he was angry and upset with Miss Rowe for not allowing him to SA her again. After the SA and R wording in Los Angeles, Garth Brooks increased the frequency of saying what his desires were about her out loud, along with his touching of her against her will. Disgustingly, he often forced her to do this while she was styling his hair and doing his makeup. This will be the end of part 4. I will continue with part 5 very soon. Please like, share, and subscribe to follow this lawsuit as we get further into what is going on concerning this lawsuit. Draw your own opinion. Again, I am just reading. I'm not here to judge. But I do want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Leave a comment respectfully. We will be back soon with the next part of this. Like, share, subscribe. Enjoy your day. Bye, guys.